Well, morning. Welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and this one I'm out at Heveningham Hall Concours. Now, this is a venue in Suffolk. I went to it last year, and it's an extraordinary event. This is amazing building, as you can see, and then behind it, it has this terracing where all the cars are displayed. It's just a fun family country show around it, and it's run by Lois and John Hunt, and their son Max and Harry organise it all. And therefore, if you know their background, if you remember a YouTube channel called Tax the Ritz, that's here. And Max has got a lovely taste in cars and a wild streak to him, to say the least, and there's some of his cars here as well. There's Horsepower Hill happens over the weekend. We'll go and have a look at that as well. But so we've come over in the Zagato. They actually invited us to take part in the concourse, so it's actually going on the terraces. But the whole event, today is Friday, and it kicks off with a sort of gentle tour around the Suffolk countryside, and lots of people are invited. That's what's rocking up here at the moment. I think we'll see his LaFerrari on tour as well. Quite a famous car. It's worth following on Instagram just to see what they get up to. And I do like his latest vehicle, which is this one up here. And it has this innocent looking Nissan Patrol until you hear it start up. And this is typical Max. Hello. This is typical Max, in that you wouldn't get it from the outside, but hiding under the bonnet of that is a 650 horsepower Nissan GTR engine, R35 engine, some trick gearbox as well, and I've heard it going around the estate last night. I thought, oh my goodness, he's promised me a go in it, whether that will actually happen. But to kick off, we do the tour, but what I really want to do is go and show you around once the cars all are in position on the terraces, because it's just spectacular, some of the cars you'll see here. Today is the first day when the show opens to the public, and there's a lot to see. We were seeing camel racing over there, lots of food stalls, falconry, and there was the most incredible collection of tractors. And being a farmer, I just couldn't help to see them. There's some tractors there I haven't seen before. The most monstrous case quad tractor I'd ever seen, and then some classics from my period, 1980, a Schultz tractor, four-wheel drive, Swiss tractor, four-wheel drive, counties, Fords, all sorts of things down there. And then this funny little tractor that seemed to have been retrofitted with a V8 engine and cut off exhaust. Didn't start up, but yeah, there's all sorts of things. It's sort of a family event, so much to see there. This video, what I'm going to do now is actually give you a tour around some of the entries in the concours itself. And it's just, the event has just closed at 5, it's 5:15 now. I'm not going to be able to cover all the cars on display here, there's just too many, but some very special cars, and I think it's worth wandering around, have a look at those. This is how you get in onto the concours area, but I thought I ought to just stop here, because look, it's a Ferrari 812 Competizione Aperta. I was following this car, he's actually staying at the same house as we are. What a spectacular sight, and the sound of this thing. You've got to remember, when they did the Competizione version, they upped the rev limit to, I think it was 9,500 RPM, so it's a screaming V12 in that one.
Very brave.
And then SF90 and the Aperta or Spider version on this one. This is also the same guy who owns this car, and he is doing his best to win Horsepower Hill. I hope to get a run up Horsepower Hill tomorrow, but at the moment, as things after today's runs, that is the lead, and I think he set a new time up the hill. I haven't seen him yet, I will confirm that tonight, but I believe that's the fastest car up Horsepower Hill today. Right, let's go and have a look in here. Right. Now I'm going to kick off with a Gordon Murray Automotive T.50. I know the owner of this car, and it's the first time I've really seen one used by you know, private owner, just on a car tour. So he was on the tour yesterday with this, and it was just terrific to see it out on the road. Lunch stop was a bit of a surprise because it was in a field and it was all very lovely, but to see this going across this grass field just made my day yesterday, and he absolutely loves it. He's a very lucky guy. He's also got an Aston Martin Valkyrie, which he had here last year. He was telling me the Valkyrie, a year and a bit in, and he's done 300 miles in it. 3 weeks in the T.50, I think he's on 650 miles. And he says that sort of shows the difference between the two cars. The Valkyrie is an amazing experience, but it's such a, you know, you get in, you're strapped in, and you can't really go and park it somewhere or do anything. This, typical Gordon Murray, incredibly usable, and this howling V12 and 3 seats, so quite a different sports car to the Valkyrie. I just want to mention this 250F, this Maserati 250F. They are stunning racing cars. I can't get over how low they got the bonnet line, how beautiful the car is. I've never seen one in this colour. I've just met with Peter Stevens, designer, and he was telling me, if you are from Monaco or Monegasque, these are the racing colours of Monaco, and that's why this car is in this sort of creamy white with the red stripe. Utterly stunning. Wanted to show you this one. It's the first one I've seen in the metal, Ferrari SF90 XX Stradale. This is a new super hot SF90, and it's the first Ferrari, they say, with a fixed rear wing since the Ferrari F50, which I didn't realise. I know it was a Montezemolo thing. He hated rear wings, so always wanted those active wings, or do the downforce by diffusers underneath the car, but not so on this. I see it's got carbon wheels on it as well. Haven't heard it run, haven't seen it run, but terrific to see it here. And then this is the beauty of this concours. Look at what it's sitting next to. This very special Bentley Banato Hassan Special. Look at those tyres, those slick tyres. I don't know if that period, I've never seen tyres like that. They're worn out on the rear. Yes, a very famous Bentley, this. If I look at the history of it, the Hassan part of its name, he was Walter Hassan, a very good engineer, and when Bentley went belly up in 1931, he came in and with the task of creating a Bentley from the Le Mans races that would set a new outright record at Brooklands. That was the thing they wanted to do. So they put this super streamlined body on it, single seater, as you can see here, great big air intake in here, forcing the air into the 3 carburetors. They also, underneath here, I believe it's an 8-litre engine, and this car did a lap of Brooklands in 1935 of 142.6 miles an hour. Just mad. We saw it go out today because they actually ran it up the hill, horsepower hill here. They managed to manoeuvre it out here. I'm not sure what speed it did up there, but an extraordinary achievement for 1935. And when racing at Brooklands stopped for good in 1939, it still had not been bettered with a production car engine. So there you go.
Age is no barrier to hooligans.
Bit of history there, and another bit of history here. Now, this Ford Escort, what date are we in here? 1980, RS 1800. When I look who was the driver of this car, Ari Vatanen, and then who was the co-driver but David Richards of ProDrive fame now, that's how we know him, but he was the actual co-driver in this car. And the famous part of this car is there was a real race for the World Championship, who was going to win it in 1981. And Vatanen and David Richards went into the RAC rally, the last race of the season, and he needed to finish 5th or better. And he came in second position and won the World Championship that year. Ari Vatanen did, David Richards as co-driver. But terrific to see, looks utterly amazing, beautifully restored, and great to see it on a field of this. Next door, a very special Porsche. Again, the first one I've actually seen in the metal, as it were, 2019 Porsche 935-19, a very limited run Porsche based on the GT2 RS, and This was a carbon-bodied special Porsche, 697 horsepower I think it is from the engine, but with this 935 look on it, so streamlined without the headlights. It's actually got lights down here that come in. It's not for road use, it's a pure track special, and yeah, amazing to celebrate the 935. And here it is on the showground at the Heveningham Hall Concours. Next, a Ferrari 250 short wheelbase. Absolutely beautiful example, this one, 1961. A little bit of race history on it. It came, I think it was a private owner, he ordered it with a roll cage in it, but now it's sort of fully restored and looks absolutely terrific in the field. A very beautiful car. Our Bugatti Chiron, but this is no ordinary Bugatti Chiron, if there is such a thing. This is the Senso version. This is of the Bugatti EB110 SS. The look of that earlier EB110 they wanted to do here, and we might be fighting a band about to start up. Well, what a design. They only did 10 of these cars. They were crazy money. I don't actually know how much they were, but they say they're 20 kilos lighter, but one of 10. Such a rare sight. Beautiful to see it on the field. Great that the owners shared it with us. Just wanted to show you this car. This is a Delahaye, and I've never seen one with this design of body, and we'll get to that in a moment. But Delahaye were a French manufacturer, and they started doing sort of avant-garde cars in the 30s, and they were renowned. They were a performance car of the time, and they did CS competition special versions, and MS, which stood for Modifica Speciale, and that's what you see here. So this was the hot version, but this car went off to Argentina, and the owner at some point had it rebodied, and he copied the sort of Bugatti Type 57 body you see here with the rivets and this spine down the roof. It's just extraordinary. It's fantastic to see it sitting here. This 1937, this crazy Art Deco type design sits here at a Concours. Probably a one-off body. I don't think there's any others in existence, but just terrific to see. Ford Puma Hybrid Rally 1. This is here. I mean, it deserves to be here, but it's also great that this is also going up Horsepower Hill with one of John Hunt's sons, Harry, who did Dakar in a Mini. He's racing this up the hill, see if he can set the best time. I don't think he cracked the SF90's time today, but I'll have another go tomorrow. And I'm just looking at the spec of it. 514 horsepower, 5-speed sequential, obviously all-wheel drive, and that's all from 1600 cc with an electric motor assistance. Obviously it's hybrid assistance. No such things going on hybrid with this. Lamborghini Countach 5000S, so this is 1983. I just love the initial history with this car because yeah, it was bought new in London, and the guy bought it for the younger of his two sons, Veyron, who was the first owner of this car, and it was the only UK right-hand drive Countach finished in yellow, and he managed to quickly put 15,000 kilometres on it as a teenager in London. What a party that must have been with that car. So, Renault 5 Turbo 1. So this was the initial homologation special that Renault did for the rally car that then we all saw sort of competing, and to actually see John Ragnotti just going wild in this car, super successful rally car. And they had to build a homologation special, just like M3, Integrale, Evos, that sort of thing. That's what this is, this car. What date is it? 1981. So yeah, 1.4 litre engine, 160 horsepower apparently. I was talking to the owner of this car. He's always wanted one. He found this car in Italy. It was owned by a dealer out there, and Renault only planned to build like 400 of them, and in the end I think they did about 1,1500 examples. Absolutely perfect, this one. 45,000 kilometres. The interior is wild. It's got a radio in the roof. The colours are just mad. beautiful condition. I was asking whether this orange had faded and it's left, when it left the factory it was the red. No, that was the colour it was when it left the factory. This balmy car. They then did a Turbo 2 that wasn't quite as extreme as this. It had a regular interior and things, but the collectible one is this. And it also has alloy panelled doors and an alloy roof. Super thin alloy. I won't press it, but yeah, great to see. Interesting story of this D-Type, in that it came racing D-Type, obviously has a straight six on it, nice example, 1955, short nose, but it went to an owner in America who decided to put a V8 Chevrolet engine in it, and well, that's what they do in America, and he had to take the front subframe out to get the engine in, and the chassis number on a D-Type is on that front chassis member. It then came back, was reunited with its proper engine in the UK, and you think nothing of it. But because that front chassis member was cut out in America when they put the V8 engine, that formed the basis of another D-Type, because if you have the chassis number, chassis plate, you can get it registered. So they built a car all the way from that. This hacked off the owner of the proper D-Type you see here, so he bought the replica, so he owns both and got rid of it, and it no longer exists. So this chassis number, it's quite an interesting backstory, that's what happens when cars get so collectible, but he's controlled it, and that is the only one, and it has its original chassis number on it.
Obviously, the significant difference with the classics.
2024 AG-TZ Twin Tail, and this is a development in association with Zagato, and it's an Alpine A110 with a extended long tail version, and it was built to celebrate this car, which is also an Alpine, when they were racing at Le Mans, and they did a short tail you see here, but there was also a long tail version as well. And this enterprising company in Poland decided, wouldn't it be great to celebrate this 1968 Alpine AE220 from 1968 that competed at Le Mans in short tail and long tail form. This example is the short tail, fairly obviously. When you look round here, you can see how it looks, all the mechanicals are on show. And I was given a demonstration on this new version based on the, say, Alpine A110, with, they attach the tail very, kind of with this sort of structure here. It quickly bolts on, but this is the long tail version, and it's road legal in short tail form, but you can just see owners of this, they're only going to build 19 of these, all carbon fibre body, all done by Zagato. It's quite a lot of money, as you'd imagine. I think it's about 650,000 euros. They're going to build 19. I know there's 10 already spoken for. So going to be a great car to see, and a great link to that past and that wonderful Alpine you see there. Now, this is one car, when I saw it was in the catalogue, I really wanted to have a close look at, because it's the first one I've seen, the 1923 Mercedes AMG-One. And this is the car with the F1 engine drivetrain. So, and you just look at the spec of it, it's 1599cc turbocharged V6 with 4 electric motors. That is the engine that is powering Lewis Hamilton that season in his Formula One car. Could Mercedes put it into a road car? They thought they could, and here it is. This is the one. Apparently it's one of 2 in the UK when I was speaking to the owner of it. And it has it's incredible, the gestation of this car. It does things, does mad things, and it was harder than they think. We just technicalities. An F1 engine ticks over at 6,000 RPM. That's why they have to start it on that thing. You can't have a sort of normal starter. There's no point, they couldn't do a road car that have a tick over of 6,000. It had to be around 1,000, 1,200 revs, something like that. So a complete redesign, a real problem for engineers to make it work, but they did make it work, and here it is. He very kindly started up for me, looked at it, and then he put it into its aggressive mode, which is what all these open. It's lots of aero going on this. There's active aero at the back as well. And if you look inside, it's this square wheel. I mean, it's like no other steering wheel. It's like out of an F1 car. He hasn't used it very much since arriving, but I'm extremely grateful to see it on the field here in its track mode. It was lowered, looks terrific. What a machine it is, and yeah, 1,049 horsepower, speed limited at 290 miles an hour, and one of only two in the UK. I just wanted to show you this one. There's three F1 cars here. 2006 McLaren Mercedes MP4 21A. This was the first of the V8 F1 cars after a season of the V10s, or a couple of seasons of V10s. But I think this one was the driver of this car was Montoya, but he was leaving Mercedes. Yeah, Kimi Räikkönen also drove this car as well, but it goes back to Lewis Hamilton because he was offered a test in this car. And if I look at it in here, September 2006, a 21-year-old Lewis Hamilton was invited to try the MP4 21 during a group test at Silverstone. And he got out, he got quicker and quicker, and outpacing Pedro de la Rosa, who would replace Montoya at McLaren halfway through the season. And it was obvious that Hamilton was going to be a superstar in F1. He describes that day as the best week of my life at the time. So it just revolutionised his career. He was then into McLaren, and we know what happened from there on. It's a beautiful car. It's shrunken from where we look at the modern cars, and it looks so technical. The amount of wings on it, and this in this glorious metallic paint you see here, just spectacular. Love seeing this here as well. 2005 Bugatti Veyron. Quite a special car, this one though, because it's prototype. I think it was the 5th prototype built by Bugatti, and it was also the one that did the high-speed run. They wanted to see just how quick the Bugatti Veyron was. They went out on their test track in Germany, and it did 408.47 kilometers an hour, and it was obviously the fastest car on sale in 2005-06, 250 miles an hour. And lovely history of this car, because it then became a sort of press car, did a marketing car with a group of other cars. I don't think I drove it in that form, but Ferdinand Piëch took it to be his personal car. It went back to Molsheim. This was his favourite colour scheme. He had it put into this colour scheme, and it was his car. And then he sadly died, I think it was 2019, and the current owner, Simon Furlonger, bought the car. So this is the original Veyron, very famous history, and in utterly beautiful condition. It's in its angry mode at the moment, that's why the wing is up. But yeah, I don't know, I think they are a bit of a design classic, and it's interesting what Furlonger are doing, because they're actually starting to do servicing on them in the UK, so you no longer have to send them back to the factory. And I think they might just creep up. The values are already starting to creep up, and it's great that you don't have to be supported by the factory on these older cars. Like it's, you know, how old is it? It's nearly 19 years old, coming up for 20 years, and it's just changing Bugatti ownership for the better, I think. Now, I can't do every car here, but 1990 is two very good, fantastic examples of the Safari Rally spec World Rally cars with great history. This one, 1999 Ford Focus, and this was driven by Colin McRae, and they went to Safari really not knowing what's happening, never done it before. The Safari rallies were much longer than a normal World Rally competition, so they get jacked up suspension, and there's a bit more livestock around, and they have to do this, and they go through giant water splashes. So you have this great big snorkel up here, 300 horsepower I think this car is, and somehow Colin wasn't really expected to do very well there because he hadn't experienced it, and he won in this car, and it's just terrific to see it here from a private collection. But what a history to have. Colin McRae won it in the Ford Focus 99. In 2000, Subaru entered. Richard Burns was the driver, and again pretty inexperienced on Safari rallies, and they did it in this Subaru, 99 Subaru. You can tell it's Safari Rally again. Look at how jacked it up, look at that incredible air scoop on it. And as the rally got going, he took a lead early on the first day and never relinquished it. And the following year, year 2000, Richard Burns won it in this Subaru. And this Subaru has just been fully restored at ProDrive, and it's gone into their museum. But what an iconic rally car. Both these two make these Safari Rally hero cars from that 99-2000 period. I don't normally feature pre-war cars, but I just had to look at this one because this is 1922. Minimalist, I think, sums up this one. Tiny. It's a 4-cylinder 1500cc engine in this one. 4 valves per cylinder, 16 valve this thing. You'll notice no front brakes on it, slimmed down, as streamlined as they could make that. And this has proper racing history. This was AC's works car, works racing car as they describe it. And it set quite a few records actually. This is in its sprint hill climb spec, so a tiny little tank at the back. I noticed the brake drums at the rear are all drilled. You only got rear brakes on this thing. Gear changes out here, handbrake there. And this car, it was quick. It's 450 kilos, they think, and it became the first 1500cc car to cover 100 miles in an hour. Not just do 100 miles, did 100 miles in an hour at Brooklands, and also it won the Brighton Speed Trials 2 years in a row. Just great to see, so basic, probably so exciting as well. I'll show you this car, this Bentley. It was a 1929 Bentley Speed 6 Special. And that was the period when they were doing great things with racing at Le Mans, etc. And they had this new unstressed engine. They turned 6.6 litre straight six, 200 horsepower, and had a claimed top speed of 125 miles an hour. This particular example left the factory as a coupe, but then it was bought by John Morris, and John Morris is a chief engineer at SU Carburettors, and he decided to turn it into a race car. You see here, being SU carburettor designer, this car has 5 carburettors on it. It's just mad. It's got 2 larger carburettors join the party at 1/3 throttle, and it means it has a constant fuel supply for over 100 mile an hour motoring. And yeah, it has a great history of quite a lot of racing in that period. It competed in speed trials in the UK and overseas, Monza, Monterey, Antwerp, and in 1959 was clocked at 127.8 miles an hour over a flying mile. Current owner was telling me he uses this car all the time, and he even drove it down to the historic Grand Prix in Monaco recently. He's done 3,500 miles in this car in the past couple of months. Always out. We followed it on the tour yesterday. Fantastic to see it used. He does say with 5 carburettors, fuel consumption is not great. Think about 7-8 mpg on it, but it's only revving at about 2,200 RPM at 70-80 miles an hour, but a properly used Bentley. Very special Alfa Romeo here. Alfa Romeo T.50 Monoposto. Look at the patina on this car and the history of this car. You'll see Don Lee Special on it, and these painted numbers on the side, and just the paint sort of worn off in places. Who doesn't like the Alfa Romeo from this period, 1934? What I couldn't get over when I read the description of this car, the racing history with this thing. It went off to America and it entered the Indianapolis 500 in 1939. And then it continued to race at the Indy 500. It was entered in 1940, 46, 47 and 48. I didn't realise that Alfa Romeos, these sort of 8CS cars, this T.50, raced at the Indy 500, but here you are, and it's in the same condition as it was when it last raced there in 1948, I think it was. You'll also notice a little Lancia Fulvia Zagato 1600. That's my car, and they very kindly invited us here to exhibit it. I have no idea what's going to happen in the concours, etc. But I have to say, it does look spectacularly good in this setting, so I'm really chuffed to have that here looking super shiny. Right, there's another Zagato down here, just wanted to show you. Right, what we've got here, 1956 Maserati 2000 Berlinetta by Zagato. So this was Maserati's car. He went to Zagato to have a more slippery body put on it, more stylish, and this is the result. They only built 20 of these Berlinettas, and they all had slightly different bodies, and this one is unique in that they added some extra details to it because the Zagatos had a bit of a whoopsie. This competed in the 1956 Mille Miglia, and it had a bit of an accident on it, and you'll see the double bubble roof here. That's what Zagato did. It landed on its roof, so it had to go back to Zagato, the body to be sorted out. Unfortunately, while it was at Zagato, they'd finished it all, and Gianni Zagato took it out and had a crash in it, and they all flip. So they rebodied the rebodied Berlinetta, and they thought they'd had some details for the distress they'd caused the owner. So it's got this sort of flared in headlight here, it's a bit more kicked up at the rear, this design here, the fender, and it gained this sort of aluminium strip. It's a unique car, this Maserati. It's been at Villa d'Este, I think it won its class at Villa d'Este, and we followed it on the tour yesterday. Just a wonderful example of coach building in the 50s. The final two cars I want to show you are up here. I think these are some of the most beautiful F1 cars ever done. So this is 1989 Ferrari 640 F1 driven by Gerhard Berger. And this car, I actually went down to the members meeting at Goodwood this year because Gerhard Berger was driving this car. He drove it on the Saturday and everybody said it was the best thing ever. To hear this howling V12 going around Goodwood solo, and I was so looking forward to it on the Sunday. Unfortunately, on the Sunday, they had noticed it had an slight oil leak on the Saturday night and they did not run it. I was gutted, but the owner is very keen that this car gets exercised regularly and you will see it again. And I'm hugely grateful for him for that. But I just think it's absolutely stunning. And Ferrari of this period, if you look next, you go to 1988, and this is Nigel Mansell's Ferrari, the 639 F1. Not quite as beautiful, but it's pretty flipping up there. Still has the enamelled badge in its nose. I can remember watching Nigel wrestle this around, and again, normally aspirated V12, an absolutely beautiful car. So there you go, if you spin round and look at this setting, it's just extraordinary. It's a glorious setting. The Heveningham Hall Concours is quite special. It's bolted onto this country fair. They actually have a limit to the number of people they can actually come to this site during this weekend. It's 10,000 people a day. Sounds quite a lot, but it's really not very many. It's a tiny amount compared to something like the Festival of Speed, but there's real high quality cars on show in this concours. You've got the madness of the horsepower hill going on, and you've got the sort of country fair and the food halls, all that sort of thing. It's a developing show. So that's my quick guide around this. Hope you enjoy this section. Tomorrow I'm going to see if I can get a run up the horsepower hill, and I'll show you more details of that tomorrow. Well, morning. Welcome to day 2 of Heveningham Hall Concours, and today I thought I'd just come down to this horsepower hill and see the action that's going on here. Last night, wonderful bash at the hall and a great party. They did the awards as well, and much to my surprise, the little Zag picked up an award for winner of performance car 1966 and 1999, which I am overjoyed with, and I'm very grateful. Today is a completely different day. I'm meant to be going out with Max in this thing. This Nissan Patrol here. Hello. Things don't happen as any other event apart from here in the hall. Yeah, 650 horsepower Nissan Patrol. This is James. There he is, who's taking his 812 Competizione Aperta up the hill. And we've had rain today, which is not good. I think we've got a pista there as well. So anyway, we're going to see the madness of horsepower hill, what it all means. This is Harry Hunt, I think, just coming down in the work. The hill in that this year, but he's telling me just before it tops out at 115 miles an hour, and that is not quick enough to win horsepower hill today. And there's even, if you turn around, a lap Ferrari about to go up. So I'm going to go down to the start line, go and see all the action. I think even the tank's going up, and they're trying to get a tractor to go up as well. Let's go down to the start.
It's also where you normally see a classic Aston.
Still moving, don't he? It's quick.
Who's driving? There was so much smoke yesterday.
Right, that was horsepower hill. There was an incident, so unfortunately I had to shut down this afternoon. But I've got Max with me, and Max, this is your car, isn't it? This crazy Nissan Patrol.
This is it.
It's a bit special.
It is a little bit, yeah. It's my wife's car.
Oh, it's your wife's car?
Yeah, it's the gymnastics wagon.
Right.
Yeah. And it is a bit special.
And it's your, well, it's the family car, isn't it? Is the idea.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that, yeah.
Go. I mean, from the outside, this
Yeah.
to me just looks like a normal Nissan Patrol. I haven't actually seen a high roof version before. Did you get that from somewhere? How do you?
Yeah, so it's actually originally a Japanese import.
Right.
I think proportionally with the wide arches, obviously it's the long wheelbase with the high top. I think it's my favourite.
Yeah, it's an excellent. I couldn't believe it when I first saw it, and then I heard it actually coming towards me, and he'd done some trick things with this, isn't it? It's not normal at all.
No, and it's literally was finished last week.
Right.
So it's still new and super exciting. Yeah.
And the engineering, well, I'm going to say now, Nissan GTR engine in the front.
Yes.
Let's have a look. Can we have a look?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. There's the Nissan GTR badge. I mean, the engineering on this, and it's a mate of yours who does this, isn't it?
Yes, Jack Tonkin, Jay's garage, and he's a super clever guy. He's done the whole thing himself, so not just the tuning, the engineering, the whole lot. And he's a clever guy. Yeah.
Has he ever been done before?
He's done one before, but he put an RB 25 engine in the older Patrol.
Okay.
He brought it to Horsepower Hill last year, and that's, we've met just before that.
Yeah.
And then we got excited about this crazy idea. Found this one, which is a Japanese import, so it's two seats in the front, and it's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
we'll have a go in a minute. And
wagon,
the bit that got me, one, just beautifully done. The whole thing is so neat installation, and two, is that, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is necessary because.
The dry sump, because the Nissan GTR engines are they're like an iceberg. They're super tall, and it wouldn't fit above the front axle.
Right.
So dry sump, which was a tricky bit. When we first put the engine in, without all the turbos and the sump tank, etc., there was so much space, but now it's, Jack, like he said, it's going to fill up pretty quick.
Yeah.
The other, obviously bolted onto the back, is the 8 HP box from the X5.
Right.
And that's a really clever, again, Jack's tuned the gearbox.
The gearbox.
ECU, and it's, it's a fantastic thing. So it's full auto.
It is. And this isn't really, there's no such thing as a standard GTR, but this isn't standard GTR at all, is it, this one?
No, it's not with the extra bits. It's running 650 horsepower at the moment.
Yeah.
We were talking about maybe forging the internals and it'll take it up to about 850, 900. But at the moment, we're just going to bed it in with the.
Right.
The thing we were a little bit worried about, the running gear of the Patrols are very strong.
Right.
We wanted to put 650 in it, super calm, nothing crazy. We thought, but yeah, it's been wild. My wife has driven it. I think she enjoys it.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's good to know. Yeah. Well, I can't wait. If we could step inside and just have a little here, see how it works. I see what you mean. 3-seater.
Yeah.
How weird. Oh, there's something going on there.
That's good, isn't it?
That's the gearbox control.
Yeah, exactly that. And then it's got this sequential style.
Oh God.
Shifter, that's it.
And that's an X5, BMW X5.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
It's an awesome gearbox. It's not a dual clutch, but it spins the next gear up. So the gear changes are rapid.
That's cleverer than I realised.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of space, isn't there?
Proper family wagon.
Why is there a battery in the back?
We had to take out, the only things we lost was the aircon, for the dry sump, and the space for the battery.
Right.
Otherwise, it's
that's
good.
all right. And in this then, it's 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, or so you choose?
Yeah, exactly that. And this is P1, we're in full auto, P2 is sport auto, P3 is manual, sequential.
Oh, okay.
And then P4 is sport manual.
I have never knew that existed.
Mad, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's available. You're saying it's pretty reasonable, isn't it?
Yeah.
The work to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jack tuned the whole thing. So
I've just realised you've put us on. Yeah. Horsepower Hill. Here we are. How did that happen? On the start line. Yeah, there we are. Horsepower Hill.
Yeah.
You know the way around here, isn't it? Shall we go up here?
Shall we? Let's get
Oh God. God, they're good gear changes, aren't they? Oh shit. Whoa. Whoa, never mind. There we are. Yeah, don't worry. We're just looking around the estate. Yeah, is there a plane? This is also, we should say, there is a runway here as well.
Yeah.
It's all packed in at Heveningham Hall Concours. There we are. They're the plane, well, helicopters now. They've all left. That went well, didn't it?
Yeah.
And so what, we're in two-wheel drive then?
Yeah, in two-wheel drive, yeah. So
Oh.
you can feel it's actually spinning and losing quite a bit, but yeah.
It's remarkably civilised, isn't
not
it?
bad, is it?
Yeah. Because I just love how you do not know from outside, and you've got grabber tires on it, haven't you?
Yeah. Pretty aggressive.
Right. Now what
Yeah.
we're going to do?
Just check the one on the hill, and then we're in full drive now, so
Right.
you'll feel it. Actual traction-wise, it's much more, I think. Oh,
There's a buggy.
let's let the buggy go.
There we go. Yeah. And the sound of the GTRs we all love, isn't it? I presume it can sort of do donuts and things quite well, quite effectively. Yes, that was quite an important part of
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
I'm
That'll
getting.
go back into drive.
Right. The tank is just leaving the field, I see. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, it's on. There we go. There we are. I do like that gearbox.
Good, isn't it?
Yeah, really clever.
Type a little donut.
I think so.
Oh, sorry.
That was a
That was nearly up, wasn't it?
Yeah, let's have another go. Let's have a go with Oh, yes. A very tight donut. Good God. well done, that man.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's no worry. You got it back though.
Didn't we just?
Yeah, you got it back.
Just steered into it.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
quicker than expected.
Max, it's always a pleasure. You never know what's going to happen at Heveningham Hall Concours. This year, as like no other, I came last year the first time, I wouldn't miss it. But it's been huge fun.
Yeah,
and,
amazing.
and your time doing, you know, Tax the Rich sort of YouTube videos, is that going to come back ever?
Oh, I don't know. And it was always
Yeah.
no, it was it was a fun. I'm gonna put that back in the part. There we go. Yeah, it's YouTube stuff. Yeah, I was always talking about doing more bits. But
You ought
it's,
to go back.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was hugely enjoyable.
Yeah, it was hilarious
as an
at the
event.
time, yeah.
And well done for putting this event on.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
happy days.
Yeah, thanks
so
Matt.
much for coming,
All right,
Harry, yeah.
pleasure. Right. Well, what a mad 3 days that's been. Kicked off with that tour on the Friday, the beautiful day yesterday and the judging and all these cars on show, and then today we just that sampling of Horsepower Hill, and then going out with Max in his crazy Nissan Patrol that he's done for his dear wife as the sort of car, the family car, but it just added 650 horsepower of GTR power. I just think Heveningham Hall Concours is just this crazy mix of country fair and then this beautiful concours lawn and a little bit of action right down the hill. And I think it's a unique event. You know, we're so well served in this country. We have Goodwood Festival Speed, we've got Hampton Concours as well, Salon Privé. But there's some magic about this, so condensed, a bit more private, right out in Suffolk. You have to make an effort to come out here, but it's so worth it for that mix of everything that's wonderful in British life and motoring life, etc. So I hope you enjoyed this video, tour around the cars, a little quick go with Max. If you did, keep watching, keep subscribing, more videos coming along very soon.